Joe Biden has announced some of the details of what he would like the next coronavirus stimulus bill to look like. Now remember, of course, this is his proposal. The Democratic Party in the House and the Senate is going to be obviously involved in this, but this is what he wants. Billed as the American Rescue Plan, the package augments many of the measures in Congress's historic $3 trillion coronavirus relief bill from last March and in the $900 billion legislation from December. His is at about $1.9 billion. And there's a lot to it. We're gonna buzz through some of the details before we discuss. Let's jump straight to beefed up stimulus payments. The plan calls for sending another $1,400 per person to eligible recipients. This money would be in addition to the $600 payments that have already been sent out. We are going to return to that point a little bit later. Let's stick a pin in that and we'll focus on other elements of this plan. Enhanced unemployment aid boosted to $400 a week. Rental assistance at $25 billion and an eviction moratorium. $5 billion set aside to help struggling renters pay their utility bills. $5 billion to help states and localities assist those at risk of experiencing homelessness. $15 billion in assistance for small businesses. You have $350 billion for aid for states and schools. It's one of the big things that was left out of the last package. And then additional benefits like extension of food stamp benefits, child care and child tax credits, tax credit extensions, restoration of emergency paid leave, and a lot of besides. And the details are all out there if you want specifics. But overall, it's a pretty big package. Like we said, we're gonna debate the direct payments in a little bit. But overall, Brett, it seems fairly substantial, especially in comparison to what Mitch McConnell was willing to let move through the Senate not too long ago.
Yes, this is slightly bigger than what Trump said his package would include, but we never got any details on that.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Let's do it right now. And the $1.9 trillion is actually bigger than that because it piggybacks on the $600 that was already agreed to be given out. So all what we have here is pressure from the left and in both establishment and progressives to get something more is for the people, period. As the Republicans are currently saying, well, more than half of the Republicans in Congress are still saying like, wait, let's think about November 3rd, because that is the date of the biggest tragedy in America. You have people to the left, on the left, saying, well, let's think of from the entire time since we passed the CARES Act to make people whole. And yes, this doesn't make them absolutely whole. This, by some studies that I saw, they say that this kind of gives 83% of lost wages back, which is more than you would get from disability, essentially, by most disability or workers' comp kind of time off. So I like this bill, and I think they should do it. And I think they should do it tomorrow, the 20th.
Yeah, it's probably gonna take till later tomorrow, but yeah, it's got a lot in it.
But let me just say really quick, more stuff like this, and you don't need to unify with all the psychos. More stuff like this, and that same group, so half of the Republicans are voting for Trump insanity, and the other half are like, no, we're gonna certify the election, right? If you get everybody voting with the same, the at least non-completely detached and insane half of the Republican Party, and the Democrats who are pushing to make people whole with a like saying, no, we promised this, we are delivering, here you go. If the more we can do that, the more we don't need to unite with the psychos who are rallying right-wing militias to go overthrow the Capitol.
Yeah, I agree. I think that right out the gate, this being one of the first big things they push for is, I think it's a good strategy. Can't be the only thing, but showing people that there is a direct one-to-one connection between replacing the outgoing government that didn't give a damn what happened to you last year with one that theoretically does is a good call. I would definitely push for that. One thing that I find a little bit frustrating is the plan does call for investing $20 billion in a national vaccination program and the hiring of 100,000 public health workers for community health, places where people get that. My fear is that they are still Like we've had a complete breakdown of the vaccination program. I don't know if you've been following it, Brett, but a lot of the states are now discarding the pre-guidelines. The federal government has discarded their own federal guidelines and come out with new ones because it was such a debacle. I think it was New York said that they're about to run out of vaccines. Like the states were sent a big amount and then it was supposed to continually come out from there. They're about to run out. And then you have areas where they are sitting on stockpiles because they haven't figured out a way to actually give them out yet. I feel like this needs to be the national priority. And I feel like saying that should sound stupidly obvious, but doesn't. Like the fact that the Defense Production Act hasn't been invoked yet for vaccine production when states are literally running out of the vaccine seems crazy to me. And so I'm glad that there is money that's going into it. And I know that this isn't the only thing he's going to be doing when it comes to COVID, but this is the COVID focused rescue package. I feel like if you were gonna go big on that, this would be a great place to put it. I'm just concerned that there is not, like Biden is obviously going to care more and prioritize vaccination more than Donald Trump does. Donald Trump doesn't give a damn what's happening right now, but I feel like they don't get that we are literally losing between 4,000 and 5,000 people every single day now. And it's just considered the most normal thing in the world. Like it's barely even making the news anymore.
I mean, yes, there's a lot of like linguistically fascinating things and it's the most normal thing. That's how norms happen. It's sad. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I think we really need to wrap our mind around. Like right now we are living through all that stuff that you learned about in history books about like significant historical events. This is one of them. And what's weird about significant historical events is as much as like the movies are made afterwards about how harrowing it was every second of the day, like it just becomes normal. It just becomes normal because that's what a norm is. It's stuff that's just been happening for a while. This has been happening for a while, so you just grow to accept it. Like we, like T-Rexes, as human beings in Jurassic Park, our visual acuity is based on movement. So the more things stay the same, the less we like see it. And that's, we're just like, it's not getting that much worse. So we don't really completely accept it as being terrible, but
wait,
it
how
doesn't
much
mean it ain't
worse would it
bad.
have to get?
How much worse would it have to get?
That sounds like a meh comment to Brett. That's not what I mean. Let's actually gauge for like 30 seconds. How would it have to be 10,000 before people get freaked out? Because I don't know about you, but people, at least in the area I live in, I know that that's not a way to form a worldview, don't seem freaked out. LA in particular, like I saw an article that estimates 1 out of 3 people in LA County have already been infected at some point with coronavirus. And obviously a lot are literally right now. And like people are 1/3 as visibly scared as they were when it was less than 1/3 as bad as it is now. Sorry if that sounded a bit, Bilbo-y, but you do the math. They're not freaked out enough.
I mean, it's one of those, well, if you want to engage with it more, there's people like me, not to brag, who are just like, this is what I have to do and I'm gonna do it. Mm-hmm. And there's people like you who are like, this is what I have to do and I'm gonna do it. The solution is simple for me, that's the problem. The solution is simple for me. I know that I stay home and I have a job I can do from home and I can go to the supermarket when I need to do it. For other people, it's not simple. They don't have a job. They have to stay home. Other people, it's, I don't believe anything. So they go out and they think it's all a hoax. Maybe they think they've already had it, so they go out. And then maybe those people are out there and folks who haven't had it yet look and say, well, they're out. I guess it's not so bad. I'm gonna go out. It's this weird, like, I forget what the name of the phenomenon is, but when you think, oh, someone's getting beat up on the street, someone's gonna take care of it. There's enough of us watching, and
mob mentality,
and no one does.
Yeah, actually, I've referenced that study before. It's one of the most fascinating things I think I've read.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.